Now, up until this update, I wasn't really a frigate pilot. I fly mostly cruisers, battleships, battlecruisers, and battleships, but I didn't really fly frigates, since I wasn't really interested in them. But this update changed that, and one of my all-time favorite ships, the Rifter, is now a little bit more usable, or should I say, the Navy ships, the Navy frigates have been added to the game, and so far they are awesome. So, it will be time to see what these ships can do, and I will start with my all-time favorite, which is the Rifter, or in this case, the Rifter Navy. Now, I believe the Rifter and the Tristan are the two most popular at the moment. The next one that I'll be recording is the Tristan. I really love that ship, and the Tristan Navy might actually be the scariest out of the freshly added 5 Navy frigates. Okay, now let's take a look at the ship trait description. It should be really interesting. So the roll bonus will give you plus 20% small cannon activation time, minus 20% damage control reactivation delay, plus 6 seconds damage control activation time, minus 20% warp drive signature radius penalty. Now, the Navy frigates utilize the expert skills the same way the Navy battleships do, so that's one thing that is going to be quite common with the new ships here. So the expert small cannon operation bonus per level will give you plus 30% small cannon damage, plus 10% small cannon accuracy fall-off, plus 7.5% small cannon tracking speed. Expert frigate command bonus per level will give you plus 75% small shield boost amount. Expert electronic warfare bonus per level will give you plus 5% scan resolution and plus 5% center strength. So these frigates should have some very nice DPS. And the Rifter has a bonus on shield boost, so that's going to be quite interesting to play around with. Now, the Navy Rifter has 3 high slots, 3 medium slots, 3 low slots, 3 combat and 3 engineering rigs. 350 is the cargo hold capacity, 5443 is the overall defense. Now, I actually expected the frigates to have a lot more resistance, basically around the same percentage as the Navy battleships. And I believe that these ships will be changed, and in some ways I believe that they will be buffed in the next couple days, perhaps in the next couple weeks. But the Rifter is primarily a shield tank, and in this case, in this video, I'll be flying the Rifter as a shield tank ship, but we will see how the build will go. 603 gigajoules is the capacitor, 240 seconds is the recharge time, 6.28 gigajoule per second is the recharge rate, 880 seconds is the shield recharge. I had to double check that. Perhaps you might be able to get a nice passive tank with this ship, with a couple tweaks of course, since passive tanking is kind of a thing now. Maximum lock targets 5, signature radius 21.6 meters, which is actually quite small. Scan resolution is the number of the beast, as expected, 666 meters, lovely. Center strength 12.6, flight velocity 458 meters per second, warp speed 5 AU per second. It has a relatively small mass, inertia modifier is 1.4. So, quite a interesting description for this cute little ship. I love how the ship looks. The Navy camouflage does look awesome on this boat. Now let me show you the build that I have on this thing. So, I have 4.49 DPS. This is mostly because I'm using the cheaper autocannons. I mean, the autocannons are now skyrocketing in price. The C-types cost like 50 million per piece. That's quite a lot, if I have to be honest. But yeah, I have the Republic Fleet small autocannons. Optimal 1.44, accuracy of 8.89 kilometers, tracking speed is 655, activation time 3.74 seconds, which is pretty okay. I like it. In the medium slots I have one scrambler and dual webs. In the low slots, one micro warp drive, a medium booster and a damage control. And as for the rigs, it is not integrated, don't worry. I did not go overboard with this. After all, it's a frigate, and I don't usually integrate frigates. However, I have dual burst aerators to increase the DPS, and I have one anti-EM reinforcer to increase the EM resistance. And this thing has 52, 54, 51, and 59% resistance on the shield, which honestly is not bad. It has a hole on thermal. Now, I actually thought to combine anti-EM and anti-thermal for a integration, but I didn't do that. But you can go and basically buy one of the cheap 2P integrations that cost like 30 million and combine anti-EM and anti-thermal, and it should basically give you a very balanced resistance value on all damage. That should be about 52 average, which honestly is not bad. Now in the engineering race, one ancillary power grid router, well, dual ancillary power grid routers, and one auxiliary thruster. Now this thing is actually not that slow. It goes 691.58 meters per second. And my skills, let me just quickly show you my current expert skills. Now, of course, I didn't fly frigates up until now, but I have most of the expert skills on level 4, and by the end of the week, all of them will be on level 5. So I'm basically missing about 30% damage that I can get on this ship, which honestly 330, 350 DPS is not going to be that bad. It's pretty good, and I already have a barrage implant which will improve the DPS even more. Now as for the Nano core, this is where things get a bit I'm not gonna say weird, but definitely interesting. Currently only one Trailblazer core is available, although we do have a lot of other Nano cores for the Rifter available on the market. Now I believe this is only because this is a new ship and they didn't really patch in the nanocores yet, but you should be able to use the other nanocores, the green, blue nanocores that are already available for the Rifter. So I would say wait before buying the Trailblazer nanocore, because you know I believe that they will add a new, not new nanocore, but you know they'll allow all the nanocores to be used on the Rifter. And since we're already on the topic of nanocores, let me just quickly check the store for a second, the Concord Pass store, since I believe that's where the nanocore is located at. Since I love this ship so much, I might go and buy the nanocore for it. But let me see if I can see, is there any faction frigates? That's faction frigates. Yeah, that's not for the ship I need. Special frigate Trailblazer. Yeah, there it is. I think I might buy one. Why not? I'm missing a little bit Concord points, but I'll probably grind that. So if you really like the ship, then I guess you can go with that Concord Pass nanocore. But you know, I would actually wait for the new nanocores to be for the old nanocores to be available to be equipped on the ship. Now, let me undock and let me show you the speed. I forgot that. Now I'll be playing around with the build here a little bit more, since I also have a build that can have the long range cannons, which might be quite interesting if you ask me. So let's orbit, micro warp drive on. This is the layout that I like to have on the Rifter. So let's take a look at the speed. It goes 3.8 km per second. Of course, this is with only one auxiliary thruster, and I believe if you like speed, this thing can be really fast, and I really do like the Rifter's velocity. It should be quite interesting. And with the barrage implant on 250.43 DPS, which is honestly not bad. I like it. It's a frigate after all, and it does seem to look all right. Okay, now let me dock and let me show you other builds. If you have a C-type micro warp drive, you can get about 4.5 km per second. This thing can be very fast, and it definitely lives up to the name of being a Mimitar ship. Now, instead of using a micro warp drive, you can do that easily if you want to, of course, since you do have a bonus on the warp drive signature radius.
Undocking.
Which means that your signature will be smaller than some other frigates. Now with the afterburner, the speed is 1.7 kilometers per second. Not bad. Definitely kind of feels a little bit slowish, but again, have to keep in mind that I don't really have the auxiliary thrusters on this boat. But for that, for this build is actually not bad. Now with the damage control. The damage control lasts 19 seconds, reactivation time 120 seconds, and it does give you some very nice resistances when it's activated. 24,000 hit points, 84, 78, 83 and 86% resistance, which is not bad. The booster boosts 315 shield every 4.14 seconds, and it does eat quite a bit of capacitor, so capacitor might be a problem, and I think I might have a solution to that as well. Now, since this is a brawler
docking
build,
request
basically
accepted.
close range drifter, you can rely on not taking damage, but since you already have some form of tank, a nosferatu could be a good solution. Now, of course, my power grid doesn't allow that to happen, and in order to fit the nosferatu, I would have to sacrifice the afterburner. We'll have to use a lower grade afterburner in order to slap the nosferatu there, which honestly is not going to be a big problem. Or we can easily replace the medium booster into a small booster, but I don't think that that's completely necessary at the moment. So for brawling, I definitely can equip the nosferatu, a scrambler, nosferatu and web with a Mark 7 or Mark 9 afterburner, and it should run really well. Let me just see if I can do another combination here where I can use the Shadow Serpentis afterburner, since I'm very curious to see if I can slap that, if I can kind of use the built-ins. No, it still lacks a little bit of power grid. Okay, and it still lacks power grid. Now the problem with this ship is definitely the fact that it really doesn't have a lot of powers to play around with, and you really want to have basically maximum possible skills in order to utilize the Rifter. Now for a long range kite build, I have a couple ideas that I would like to share with you here. So definitely the medium booster has to go, since the small artillery cannons definitely do impact the power grid quite a bit, and there are ways to reduce that, but as you can see, they eat up quite a bit of power grid, and yeah, barely any left for anything, but it should not be a big problem. So, and here you can use a booster if you like. I think I can slap. Now in this case, a medium booster is definitely not going to be, it's not going to fit. So a small booster might be a good idea, although I don't really like to use small boosters. It does have a very nice recharge, the 125 every 3.31 seconds. I kind of like that, but yeah. Accuracy of 15.5 km, optimal range 10.8, tracking speed 175, which is not bad. And with this build, you rely on distance. 27.5 km is the point range. Over here you have one tracking disruptor. Now you can replace that one web with a technically a target painter. You also can kind of use a what is this called again? A dampener. You can also basically use dual points if you like, or even dual tracking disruptors. Could be a very interesting idea, especially if you have the tracking receptor generator, or if you have the dampener units. Both are very good options, or even the guidance receptor. Depends on what target you have. Now, one thing that I don't really like is I can't use a Navy computer on this. It simply lacks power grid, and this is one of the problems with small ships, with frigates in general. And with destroyers, you can't really use these modules. They eat a lot of power grid, and unfortunately even the low tier one just cannot fit, since this ship just lacks power grid in order to do that. But it's not that big of a deal. You can also use a build like this as a passive tank, although I really wish that I could slap a medium extender, but that's not going to happen. It doesn't have power, it requires 62, and I have 21 left. But it's not a big deal, since I can just use one adaptive, and it should increase the resistance quite a bit now. Let's undock and let's see what stats are looking like now when I have the ship with this build. With a kite build, you don't have to have so much power grid, and I might just go and change the rigs. Although actually I think I will not do that, since might use the tank build on this. So 212.63 is the DPS when the barrage is engaged. The DPS is 114.54. 5.38 seconds is the activation time, which is not bad. 69, 58, 69, and 74 resistance, and with the damage control active, it does have some very decent passive tank. 90, 86, 89, and 91% resistance. Again, not bad. I'm more than happy with this. I think the Rifter Navy might actually be a good kite, since it's really fast. With a tracking receptor, it's going to be a very tough ship to catch, since it's very fast, and based on the targets, you can prevent them to do any damage to if they can't hit you. I really do like the Rifter Navy as a kite. Should be working
docking request accepted
really well. Now, I also thought about a dual propulsion Rifter. Reminds me on the good old days from EVE Online, where I actually did use one dual propulsion Rifter at one point. And it can fit. If you have enough power grids, you can kind of pull a dual propulsion build on the Rifter Navy. Can technically be quite interesting. Has some potential with that. You can also use a capacitor battery if you don't trust your capacitor, and you can do that. Then you can also use gyro stabilizers to increase your DPS. And with a build like this,
undocking.
Let me undock and let me show you what it's going to look like when I have the build. When I have this equipped. So now the barrage DPS is 371.9, which is a good increase, and with the gyro stabilizer active, 441.56 DPS. This is a thumbs up for me. I like it. Okay, now let me dock and let me
docking request accepted.
Swap the build back to the autocannons, and let me show you how that will look as well. Should be also quite interesting. Where are the autocannons? Now again, if you really like frigates, then I believe you will be using C-types. And since I'm trying to save a piece, everything is ridiculously expensive right now. Then did I mess up something? Something is, there we go, 159.24 DPS. Now for the, I think I have a C-type gyro stabilizer somewhere. Alright, let me borrow one from the sellers, I guess. If you really like frigates, you probably have C-types. And you know, right now everything is expensive, so be very careful with the boats. But yeah, I really do like how the Rifter Navy looks so far. It's a very interesting ship, and you know, we are going to go to do some PvE with it, because I think it's going to be interesting. Now with the C-type, the DPS will be a little bit higher, and I'm doing this just so that I have no timer on the cooldown timer. 363.16 DPS. Let's unlock and let's see the
Undocking.
let's see the stats. Okay, let's orbit with the barrage implant. 537.23 DPS, which is not bad, and when this is engaged, 648.09 DPS. Could be about 900 DPS if you have maximum skills for frigates. So again, this is actually not bad at all.
Docking
I
request
like
accepted.
It's very nice. Okay, now for a PvE build. That one is going to be kind of tough to pull off, since, you know, I might not be able to fit a nosferatu of my liking, but I'll definitely try to do something here. Now for PvE, definitely you want to go with a speed tank or with a active tank. Now I'll try to do something like this. Hopefully it will work. Hey, it might actually work. Let me see if I can slap on gyro stabilizer. If I can't, well, you might get the idea what I'm trying to do. And I can't, of course. It requires some power. Let me try the cheap one. And it can't fit. Well, this is basically what the PvE build that I kind of had in mind. Small nosferatu, a small nosferatu, afterburner, gyro stabilizer, and a shield booster. That is basically the build that's kind of imagined. Don't even have to have the oh, well, I guess that kind of solves the problem. Dual webs and a you know, I don't know what to say about this actually right now, but yeah, dual webs, nosferatu, a medium booster, and gyro stabilizer. Something like this should get the job done. Although, since I don't have all frigate skills on level 5, getting all that to fit is a bit, you know, a bit difficult in my case, but if you have all maximum skills, it should not be a big problem. Okay, it's time to take the Rifter out for a spin. Let's see how this ship behaves, how this ship works. Now, this brings back some memories. I actually used to fly the tier 2 Rifter a while ago, back when the game was very fresh, and I remember wishing that we had a different version of the Rifter back then. Well, here I am now, in a different Rifter, and this one is a lot more capable. I think I can't really describe how happy I am that we received these frigates, since they definitely were missing, and basically missing ships within the tech tree. And I believe they will be adding more and more ships like this, which honestly I am okay with. Now, someone asked me what is the next ship that they might release. Well, I believe destroyers are the next to be added. They did say that they will add special frigates and destroyers. We have received frigates. The next is probably destroyers, but we will see. I would say destroyers, but could be something else. We have received cruisers, we have received frigates, probably destroyers are next, although they also might add I forgot, they also added battleships, so yeah, destroyers or battlecruisers are most likely the next on the line. I also have received that special young ship. Can you assault log or something like that? You know, I'll have a field day with that ship. Quite curious to see how it works, and we'll definitely do a video on that thing, since I believe it might be quite the interesting ship to fly. I've never, I mean, it's, I think, the first ever young ship that's not a prototype. It's an actual young ship, a non-prototype version of the ship. So That's another thing that I think I forgot to talk about. I actually kind of completely skipped. Somehow I completely missed that ship. But yeah, the first ever non-prototype Yangyun ship has also been added to the game, which means that Yangyun ships are going to be added very soon. Well, technically one has been added, but more of them are definitely coming. Now, good chance that they are going to be found within wormholes, so the next couple months are going to be good. And the next big thing that should happen in the game is wormhole space, basically, and I'm very excited for that, since our corp will become a wormhole space corp, and you know, I'm all in for that. Basically, we will go in the wormhole and we will vanish. Oh man, that sounds exciting and fun. Wormholes are going to be a bit different from the drone space that we have at the moment, since the wormholes are going to be all over the place. I kinda like that the current wormholes that lead to Cobalt Edge are in low sec. Definitely brought everything back to life. So many players are back in the game now. There's so many players, you can't miss them. And if you find a wormhole, good chance that it is camped, so yeah. Unless you are part of a big alliance and you know, you have connections, you are not going to get inside of the Cobalt Edge. I tried to get there, but nope, I was chased all over the galaxy basically. And I'll see what I can do. Perhaps one of the wormholes spawns very close to where my home system is, so could have a good opportunity to enter the wormhole from there, but again, we will see. I'll definitely try to sneak inside Cobalt Edge at one point. Getting there is kind of difficult. It's very interesting how they made that. Definitely interesting. The problem is the wormholes are kind of rare at the moment. I mean, not many have spawned basically day one of the update, but when they start spawning all over the place, it's going to be different. Right now, it's very difficult to get in without being seen or without being chased. And if you are known for blowing up ships, then you are sure to have a fleet on your tail. I had a Stratios fleet on my tail. Was chased for 40 systems. was very fun, I have to say that. But yeah, getting there is difficult, and I'll see what they can do about that. But you know, not complaining was a very interesting experience. It is still a very interesting experience. I'll say that. But let's go back to the Rifter. Now this boat is fast. I did manage to put the build that I had in mind to use, and I kinda like how it works. Now, a small nosferatu combined with a medium shield booster is a very interesting combination, because it really does seem to work in a very efficient way, I would say. The medium booster does recover a lot of shield, and you can also enhance the shield booster even more if you go and basically add a general unit. But I think I would use a efficiency unit to improve the capacitor of the ship, but it will reduce it will definitely reduce the boost amount, but it will also enhance the capacitor lifetime, which in all of cases is actually a better thing to have. Now, the better thing to have doesn't necessarily mean better, but in a lot of ways, having the capacitor last very long is much more important than having a very high amount of shield boost. I mean, it kind of goes both ways. In frigate versus frigate, you will definitely be able to tank most of them. The damage control will easily eat up all the high DPS implants that we have. So implants aren't that much of a problem if you have a damage control. Easily absorbable if you have a damage control installed. And that was my idea with the Rifter basically. The damage control combined with the medium booster does allow you to live long enough until the target that you're shooting at is dead. And it does have some very nice tank and decent resistance. This ship is quite interesting in that aspect and makes me curious to see how the other ships will perform. Definitely going to be exciting to test that out. Now the next ship that I will be flying is probably the Tristan. The Tristan at the moment is kind of classified as the best, although the Castrol Navy also looks kind of interesting, since missiles are really good, and combining the Castrol with the implant, with the rocket charge implant or tactical implant, should give you some very interesting performance that I will be testing out. Now, I did get the ship from the box, since I just had to have the Rifter. I did say that I'll get the Rifter, and I like to keep my words. Definitely not complaining. Very happy that I got the ship. Was all like, what was the box, like 200 hours or something like that? Very, very cheap for a ship, and why not? I already got the Nano core in the last event, and today I also got this ship. Honestly, not complaining. I like the Rifter Navy. At first I actually thought that they might add the Republic fleet Firetail in the other ships, but I think this is kind of better. A lot of players wanted to have they wanted to have the Rifter. And finally, after a long wait, we do have a Rifter now. It will be interesting to see how many of the ships will be flying around now. They will be very cheap on the market. Right now they are quite expensive, but as time goes on, their price will definitely go down and they will become more affordable. Right now on the market is like 2.8 billion, or less than that actually. Less than that. Mostly because the Tristan is so popular. Everyone is flying the Tristan now. But that one is going to be the next one that I will be flying. I actually did reset a lot of skills just so I could get decent skills for these frigates, and honestly it was a good choice, I would say. I already had plans to fly them. Already knew that some frigates will be out, and as you all know, I like to fly new ships. Now also on my alt account right now, I'm looking over to see if I can find a wormhole while traveling, so that I can get there. But so far, it seems like there is no wormholes around. At least it seems like there is no wormhole, but probably will stumble upon one or two as I keep on traveling around. But overall, I don't know how. If I find one, no idea how I will get in or get out, because let me tell you, things are wild. the Rifter has been performing really well now. I really do like the current performance of the ship. Can only be better, especially if you have maximum frigate skills. I would say different rigs as well. Doesn't have to be, you know, combining tank with DPS. I did add that an anti EM rig just because I did not like to have that hole on EM. But you can do a tank or even a DPS build, or in this case, in my case here, I have a balanced build between tank and the DPS. I believe the more popular build will be the speed tank that will combine speed, basically auxiliary thrusters and 3 burst radiator rigs. Can work really well against most targets, and a damage control. Damage control is definitely something that should always be equipped on the Navy ships. They're definitely in a way balanced, but in a way they're also quite strong, especially the Tristan with the bombard tactic. I think the Tristan might be because of the implants definitely the strongest, but I will be testing them out, since why not? Have a lot of ideas that I want to try out, and I just had to start with the Rifter. This ship is just iconic. I love it. All of players love it as well, and at the moment Tristan and Rifter are the most popular Navy frigates in the game.
Autopilot engaged.
Enemy ships detected.
And rightfully so, they are fun to fly ships. Alright, well, that was the Rifter Navy. Honestly, a very fun to fly ship. Very happy to see a proper Rifter in the game. This ship is very good. Well, I say very good, but I had a lot of fun flying it. It is definitely going to be lethal in the hands of the right pilot, and I'm definitely looking forward to see what other adventures await in this game in the upcoming months, since, as I already said, we are in for some very interesting times. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed. If you want to support me, feel free to like and subscribe. And with that being said, stay safe, fly safe, and as always, I'll see you next time.